Hey folks, how's everybody doing? Hope everybody's weekend was well. I pray and trust that you guys are hanging in there, staying calm, making good decisions, being smart, practicing social distancing, and all the other things we're supposed to be doing. And I know for some of us it's easier, and for some of us it's harder. I know kids being home, spouses being home. There's a lot of things going on. Our schedules are a little out of sync, and I'm kind of a schedule guy, routine guy. So I know, can definitely understand how that goes for some of us. But I did want us to talk about and kind of encourage everyone that in this time of uncertainty and not sure what's happening next, and if you're like me, 1 minute you're really calm and everything's good, and then a few minutes later you're kind of in a panic, thinking you need to run, buy up more toilet paper or, I don't know, canned goods or whatever it is that we won't be able to live without for a week or two. And on a toilet paper note, looking for something last night here in the old basement shop area, uh, found a little hidden gem where I had stored a 12 pack of double roll Charmin. Forgot I put it down here because we had a space issue upstairs in the bathroom closet. So it was like a little lotto winner. Um, and I'm kind of embarrassed to say I was excited to see a pack of toilet paper on the basement shelf down here, which I'm not sure what that means and what the world's coming to, where I'm excited to find toilet paper in the basement. But anyway, now our toilet paper stockpile is, back where it should be. We've got, maybe 2 dozen rolls, as opposed to being down to just a mere dozen. So anyway, that's a little sidebar, but we count our blessings when we can. But anyway, I wanted to talk today a little bit about the opportunity that we have as Christians in a time that is so uncertain. One of the things that we have as believers and followers of Christ is the certainty that God is in control, and because of Christ and his sacrifice on the cross and the resurrection, we have eternity and peace with God. And that's something that not everybody has, and it's something that I hope everybody will have. And we have a chance now to sort of reflect and shine in a way that might be a little unique and might open up some opportunities for us. And one of the things that made me think about is every night for probably the last year and a half or so, our little dog Lucy, who's probably 12-pounder, so she's a ferocious beast, a little Jack Russell and Wiener Dog mix, which makes for a very intimidating combo. After dark, when we're getting ready for bed, she has to go outside, and someone usually has to go with her, which is me, and we do what has become known around our house as the nightly possum hunt. Now, we have chickens in the backyard, we have a garden, and for some reason, over the last, I don't know, so many months, possums have thought it would be fun to come, and I guess they're trying to get after either the chickens or the chicken food or get in the garden. I'm not sure what they're going for, but this has become a evening ritual for Lucy to hunt the possums. Now, she has caught a few, which honestly scares me because possums, although typically not very aggressive, if you ever get close to one, they're some scary looking jokers. They got more teeth than I've ever seen, and they just have a very crazy look about them, and they make a very weird noise. So anyway, we possum hunt. Now, Lucy's caught a couple of them, ran most of them off, and honestly now, there's seldom ever one back there. I guess the word on the street in possum world is don't come to our house because there's a crazy dog that'll come after you and chase you out of the yard, up a tree, and then act like a spaz until her dad comes out and wrangles her back in, and then we can go on our way. But anyway, during this time, every night, I'm out there with my flashlight, and most of the time, Lucy just patrols the perimeter, nothing happens, which has led me to even more so and more regularly kind of gaze at the stars, check it out, see what's going on up there, and check out the moon and watch it in all its phases. And I have to say, over my lifetime, I've always been kind of dreamlike, entranced by the stars and the night sky and the moon. And it goes way back to camping as a kid and fishing as a kid and being out and just being able to see so much majestic beauty at night and so much mystery, because I don't know anything about it. Thanks to smartphones and stuff, I've got an app that I can put up at the stars, and it tells me where the Big Dipper is and Pisces and this constellation and that one. If it wasn't for that, I'd have no idea what I'm looking at. So I'm no expert, but I do enjoy watching the moon and watch it change over the month. It goes from nothing and complete darkness to this amazingly bright ball of light in the sky. And I love all the shapes and the sizes, the little crescents, the sliver, the half moon. And I like it kind of growing into this giant ball of beauty. And sometimes it seems like it's close enough that you can just kind of reach out and touch it. And that's usually when I sing some corny "When the moon hits your eye like a big piece of pie, that's amore." And I've got pipes, I know that. So I'm out in the backyard with a flashlight and a dog hunting possums, singing that corny song. So I hope the neighbors don't see that, and I'm not really sure why I even told y'all that. That's not my highest, most proud moment. But anyway, I'm just amazed at the beauty of it all, and the reflection and the glow, and it's just amazing to me. And it's one of those moments where I kind of go, man, God, it's pretty spectacular what you did and why you did it. And I always seem to think, hey, God, thanks for letting me see that and then be blessed by the fact that you're there. It's sort of a reassurance, I guess, for me. But anyway, so I'm amazed at the moon and the beauty of it all. And that kind of leads me into what I wanted us to talk about. Is there is a story in Exodus. Well, there's a lot of stories in Exodus because Moses and the Israelites do crazy things, and God is amazing there. He does just unbelievable things. But there's this point in Exodus 33, actually it's chapter 34, and it's verses 28 through 34. Got my 30s back messed up there. But so if you check it out, and I'll put the notes down what I'm referencing here. But it's in Exodus chapter 34, and Moses is talking to God. And Moses basically asked God to reveal himself to him, to show Moses himself. Like, what is this, God? We've been talking for a long time, and that's crazy in and of itself. And then it's really crazy for Moses to say, hey, you talked to me in a bush, you've done all these crazy things, seen all this amazingness, but you know what? I'd really like to know a little bit more about you. I'd really like to see you in a deeper, more whole way. So would you reveal yourself to me? And that's when God says that he would pass by Moses when he's up on this mountain, but he's going to sort of shadow himself from Moses, because Moses couldn't see his face and still be alive, because the glory and the splendor and everything would just be overwhelming. So all this transpires, and God passes by Moses, and Moses is kind of hiding in this little crack in a rock, and it's just amazing. And then from that point on, that's when God gives Moses the 10 Commandments, and he goes back down to the Israelites to give them the 10 Commandments. But the thing that's always been so crazy cool to me is when Moses comes down from the mountain, he's glowing so brightly from being in the presence of God that it scares the people around him. And Aaron has to come up to him and say, hey, bud, can you put something over your face? You're creeping everybody out because you're glowing like God, or something is amazing happening. So can you sort of tone it down? You're shining too brightly. And that's just mind-boggling to me. And then if you fast forward over into Corinthians, Paul talks about because the veil's removed, we can shine with unveiled faces. And he's referencing back to Moses in this story, a story that he's probably heard for years and probably told for years. And he may be just as equally sort of awestruck by the idea that, one, this guy had the gumption to say, hey, God, can I see a little bit more of you? You haven't done enough. I'd like to know a little bit more about you. And then God does show just his back to Moses as he's blocking with him with his hand. And Moses comes down off a mountain. I don't know if you've ever walked down off a mountain. That's not a quick thing. And he's carrying these 2 rock tablets, and he's coming down the mountain. He's probably hot and sweaty. He's probably in a little bit of a daze because what all has just happened. He shows up, wants to tell his buddies all about what's going on, and all these folks that are looking to him for leadership. And what happens? It scares him because he's shining so brightly because he's been in the presence of God. Now then we fast forward again, it's a little bit different for us because we are living in a after the death resurrection time, and so we have the ability to come into God's presence. Scripture tells us wherever 2 or more are gathered, he's there with us. Jesus is with us. So if it's you sitting at home with your wife or your boyfriend or your girlfriend or your son, your daughter, your grandkids, your parents, or if you're connecting online with your buddies and you're having a Bible study or you're just talking about your concerns or whatever, Jesus is with you. 2 or more gathered in his name. So it's different now. So we don't have to ask God to show up, and we don't have to ask God to block his presence from us, and we don't have to hide behind a rock. We can come boldly and we can say, hey God, hey Jesus, show up and come and knock and seek and push and press and ask and believe because Jesus is going to be with us. And that's an amazing twist on this whole story. And that's where our opportunity changes so much in this time where people are uncertain and people are asking questions and people need help and they need friends and they need prayer and they just need other people to be supportive. That's where we come in. Because Jesus says in John chapter 13, when he's talking to his disciples, and he's already said that we're supposed to love our neighbor as we love ourselves. He's already planted that idea. Then he goes a little bit further and he says, hey guys, people are going to know you by the way you love one another. That is how they're going to see me and know that you are my children. Because the way we love each other. If we're supposed to love our neighbor like we love ourselves, and believe me, there's nobody that loves Joe any more than Joe. And I bet you could say the same thing about yourself out there. Whatever your name is, Sally, Steve, John, Tony, doesn't matter. You probably love yourself more than anyone, which is just our nature, but we're supposed to love our neighbor just as much. We're supposed to reach out and give just as much as we want to be given to. And Jesus says that's how they're going to know us. That's how they're going to see that we are different, because the way we love. And we have an opportunity like no other right now to connect in different ways. Yeah, you can't walk over to your neighbor unless you're 6 feet away from them and chit chat with them. But you can yell from porch to porch, or send a text, or FaceTime, or Zoom, or whatever other app you're using, Facebook Messenger, Instagram, TikTok, I don't know. The kids have them all now, and I can't keep track. But we can use those to connect. We can find opportunities to pray, to listen, to maybe run to the grocery store, to do some help around the yard. I don't know what it's going to look like, but the opportunities are going to present themselves. And we have a chance to show Jesus and the love that he shared for us to others in a way that's truly special now. And that brings me back to the moon. If you do any research on that moon that I'm so fascinated watching every night when I'm out with the dog on a possum hunt, you'll find out the moon, although it's very important for the tides, gardeners use it to plant, to harvest, to track, all of that. The moon by itself is just a mass of rocks, dust, and other things that has no light at all. It just orbits the earth. But then when you look at it, it is shining so brightly. But the source of that light is not the moon, it's the sun. And the moon is merely reflecting the source. So when we look at the moon and say, whoa, that is beautiful, we hope we remember that it's not the moon that's shining, it's the sun shining on the moon and the moon reflecting. So the idea is, folks, that when people see us, just like Moses, they see us reflecting. We're reflecting and we're shining and we're bright in a dark world where we're loving in a way that people can't really comprehend. They are not just going to look at us, but they're going to look to the source. And that source is God. And that source of that light and that reflection that's in us is not us. It is Jesus. And we have a chance to reflect and to shine in this world today. And it doesn't matter where we've come from. Paul, again, in Corinthians, he talks about the thing that's so amazing is we're basically nothings. And because of Jesus, we are something. And it's because of that amazingness that we are broken vessels that God has taken and used in an amazing way, that we don't take the credit for it, that people begin to see, hey, that guy or that gal or my coworker or my neighbor or my grandson or that guy from the Bible study, something's different about that guy, and I want some of that. And what is that? He's reflecting Jesus. He's just like that moon reflecting the sun. He's not the source, but he's reflecting the source. And that source is Jesus. And we have that, and we have that peace, and we have that grace, and we have that mercy that has been poured out upon us. So why not turn that out in this time where people are asking questions, when people need help, when people are just blown away with what in the world is happening, and it changes so rapidly. But we have the answer, and the answer is Jesus. The answer is a consistent, constant, never failing love of Jesus. And we have that, and we have the opportunity to reflect, to shine. I don't know what it's going to look like for you. I don't know how it's going to look, but I do know that if we make ourselves available, just like Isaiah said, hey God, send me. All we have to do is be willing to move. We don't have to know exactly what's next. We don't have to necessarily have this massive plan. All we have to do is say, hey, God, I'm here, and use me. Send me. Let me help those that I can. Encouraging words, encouraging emails, encouraging text, a wave to your neighbor, an offer to help. You have no idea what that might do for that person and where that might take a conversation. We have the opportunity, folks, to reflect and to shine in a dark world full of questions, and we have an answer, and his name is Jesus. My prayer is you'll be safe. My prayer is that you'll make good decisions. My prayer is God will use us in an amazing way as we capitalize on our technology. We take the time to be quiet and be still and to listen, and then to go and raise our hand. God, send me. God, reflect your grace off of me into a dark world. So through us, they see Jesus. Through our love, they see Jesus. Stay safe, folks. Have a wonderful week. I'm praying for you. If you have any questions, you want to communicate at all, post comments, email, whatever how you want to connect. I'm here and I'll pray for you. I'm always praying for you guys. Have a wonderful day. Love you. Jesus loves you. Go reflect. Go shine.